Hello and welcome back, folks. We're going into match 3 of the day here between Team Spare Parts versus Kamikaze Penguins, coming in hot from the Noxus division. I'm excited to see these two teams play. I did watch Kamikaze Penguins pull out that Malphite before. Always a huge fan. Really excited. I wonder if they're gonna bring it back this game. Hunter, any pre-match discussions and or future possibility and picks?
Yeah, so absolutely. I think it's really worth mentioning to our viewers that we have moved over to patch 1010. This is now officially the start of our week 4 matches, and the first one that will be played on this patch. So all of our live patch shenanigans, everything associated with that has been applied now, and all of the games will be played with that in mind. Otherwise, moving into game, I'm just looking forward to seeing a really fun match.
I couldn't agree more. Without further ado, folks, let's hop into game. Let's see what these two teams are going to be bringing, and I'm really excited to watch both of them collide.
As we get into game here, we do see that in the top lane we have a Mordekaiser versus Darius lane. Very volatile, very kill focused. Darius probably comes out with an advantage, but Mordekaiser's level 1 can't be ignored. We do see a group coming in bot lane. I think that the side of Team Spare Parts is looking to find a pick in this Tri-Brush, seeing if they can pick out this Morgana. Morgana will ward it, walk away, and just dodges the hook there.
Very well
Meanwhile,
played. Good warding.
yes, exactly. In the jungle, we see Nasus jungle coming out from the side of Kamikaze Penguins up against this Vi. Really interesting to see the Nasus jungle, really slow farming, focused on building up his stacks, and should be interesting to see what comes of it. In general here, it'll be an interesting matchup. Vi has a lot more gank pressure, seeing as she has CC, and her early flash ganks can certainly be a menace to be dealt with. In the mid lane, we have a brutal lane here of Caston into Pantheon. Pantheon running Ignite as well on the Conqueror so that he scales a little bit better. And just looking to punish this Caston, is probably Caston got picked around pick 9, blue 5 probably, and Caston coming in red 10, or red 5 rather. And just gonna punish this Caston, and really this is a lane where you see massive CS advantages going to the Pantheon. Solo kills going to the Pantheon are just usual and regular and expected, and we're gonna see how this plays out. And that level 1 trade is only the beginning. In the bot lane, we have Ashe, Morgana, and Toulouse Nautilus. This is a very similar lane to the very similar lane to the lane we had last game. The Ashe Morgana is gonna just have to have good timing on the black shields to avoid the Nautilus engages, and if that happens, the Ashe should be able to solo punish
Nice
Solution.
Q from the Nautilus. Does land the exhaust. Ashe does heal the Morgana. Good disengage on their part there. They do hit level 2 relatively quickly, and they are able to try and get that quick engage, but it is not enough damage to take out the Morgana. She's going to be proccing a couple of her pots, actually, just to keep healthy so she can stay in lane and not lose so much experience from that early engage there.
Yeah. And yeah, Morgana popping the flash early, popping the heal, just keeping themselves safe. Level 2 timing did come out from the side of Team Spare Parts there, getting a good engage. But now that Morgana has Black Shield, it's very unlikely that we'll see that happen again, and it's up to the Vi to really punish the flash advantage down there.
Very interesting. We do see Vi coming in and actually punishing the Nasus jungle early, just getting those nice clears. She clears so much faster and is able to really contest and put a lot of pressure into this Nasus jungler who needs those farms, needs those stacks to really climb into the mid to late game.
Yeah, and I expect to see more of that in the future too, especially with her mid lane advantage. The Caston's gonna have a really rough time into this lane, even with the Dorn's Ring and some good trades here. The Corrupting Potion on the side of Pantheon is just going to keep them healthy, going to keep them able to continue trading. Fleet footwork on the Caston too. Honestly, when the lane is this bad, I almost consider going Grasp on Caston and just like maxing W or something insane like that, so that you can actually trade, because your Q is going to get no value in this lane with no magic damage coming out of the side of the Pantheon.
Very interesting. Now the Darius Mordekaiser matchup top lane is pretty interesting. We do see Vi actually posturing towards a possible gank, but Darius does see her on a ward and is pinged away. For that matchup there, who scales better in that term? And what are they gonna do to help their team out?
Well, that really depends on who gets the early advantage in that lane. Mordecai, I'm really surprised no one's gone to kill in that lane yet. But Mordekaiser versus Darius, the Mordekaiser's normally his bread and butter is going for all-ins, but Darius just shuts that down by having the probably strongest all-in, just sit there, auto-attack you, Juggernaut trade of them all. And Mordekaiser's going to have a really, really hard time contesting that as Darius gets items and gets some levels under his belt. But as far as scaling into the late game, Mordekaiser's generally a lot more useful in team fights unless the Darius is fed. So it'll be interesting to see how these top laners play around their unique advantages and what they can do with it.
Very interesting. And now mid lane, we do see the Caston very strong late game. We've seen it before. We've seen how he can just almost 1v9 games with just the pure force of his itemization after getting that Roa, after getting the Morellonomicon there. Sorry, not Morellonomicon, getting the tier and getting that prop.
Yeah.
Seraph. And with Pantheon in response to just being an early game aggressor and really trying to punching him down. How do you think that matchup is going to work out for the side of Team Spare Parts?
It's gonna be probably a slow grind at this point. Like things like the Caston trying to scale up, the bot laners both just trying not to die, top laners trying to kill each other really hard, but both top laners doing a good job of not dying thus far. Mordekaiser does have a CS disadvantage. Being afraid of the Darius, being afraid of the level 6 all-in right now at this point. I do wonder, Mordekaiser might be able to win the Darius 1v1 if he cancels the Darius ulti with his own ult. That's a really weird interaction, but it should work out the way I described it there. See Dragon going over to the side of Team Spare Parts here. No contest, just a Morgana Q trying to steal it. Thankfully, too, because it is a Nasus Caston game. Yeah, it'll be really interesting, actually, to see if the Mordekaiser can pull some funky stuff going on in the top lane, canceling the Darius animations with his own ulti.
Yeah. I want to also talk about a little bit of just team itemization here and what do each of these teams have as tools to really take down the enemy team. What are they looking for? Are they looking for picks? Are they looking for team fights? How do they want to perform the champions that are given to them here?
Absolutely. The side of Kamikaze Penguins here, they don't want to do anything. They legitimately, they want as little to happen in this game for the next 20 minutes, pretty much, as possible. By the time they reach 30 minutes, by the time they reach 2 or 3 items on all of their carries, they're going to be happy, they're going to be strong. They have the Nasus scaling infinitely, and they have this Caston waiting for his itemization to kick in. And once that happens, they're looking to just... Honestly, they can do anything at that point in time. The Vi's going to fall off pretty hard, Lucian's going to fall off really hard, and Pantheon is just going to fall off of a cliff. The only one on the team that scales even remotely well is Mordekaiser, and he falls off late game as well. So, from their side, they just want to prevent everything from happening. The fact that there's no first blood with these lanes at 8 minutes is a massive boon for them, and they want to keep that going for as long as possible. From the side of Team Spare Parts, they need to get stuff rolling. They need to pick up early dragons, they need to pick up early fights, and they need to do pretty much everything they can to pressure this game. It is worth noting that my client is actually a little bit bugged and I can't see objectives right now, but that's not the end of the world.
I got it. Don't worry. I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, I just can't see objectives on the top of the map or on the side of the screen, but I can figure that out next game. Yeah, so we really will see Team Spare Parts need to make plays happen. They need to make them happen really fast too. We see Vaya's hit level 6, and really her first ulti gank should set the tempo for this game, depending on where it goes and how it goes. Rift Herald's being taken by the side of Team Spare Parts. Once again, no contest coming out of the side of Kamikaze Penguins. Really intelligent play, knowing their power spikes. Knowing that they can't fight right now.
Oh, there's Darius. He's in trouble. There goes the R from by going into the Pantheon stun, and Mordekaiser comes in huge with the E into the Q, going to get first blood Mordekaiser.
Yeah, and that's really good for the Mordekaiser in this lane. Going to be able to set himself up in a way where he's less far behind now. Already started picking up some armor, maybe even picking up some more in this lane. If he gets another kill or two, he might actually be able to 1v1 this Darius, just with raw damage potential. Now, what I'm really looking at for this point in the game is where is this Pantheon going to go? How is he going to punish this map? He's done an alright job mid lane, getting a CS advantage on this Caston, but that's not good enough. That's not what you want to see out of this Pantheon. You want to see solo kills. You want to see map pressure, roams, and mid-jungle coordination going around this map, punishing people everywhere. Now, we really do have to wait for that ulti, right? We have to see where it goes. He needs to get a kill with it. And right now, he has a roam timing, and he might want to look top lane, but he's going to reset instead.
So you were telling me before, Hunter, to be really keep an eye onto. Oh, we're seeing an actual all-in from both top laners. Should be very interesting. Into the Shadow Realm they go. I think that's exactly what you were saying before, Hunter, that he has to do the restacks. He waited for it to be maximum proc onto Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser sends him to the Delph Realm, and Darius actually has to restack and redo everything that he's done, making the trade entirely different. Mordekaiser comes out big in that trade.
Yeah, resetting, just dodging some of the abilities there. He might have even dodged the Decimate coming out of Darius there. And Pantheon ulti coming in just to drop the Rift Herald on this turret, I'm sure. Pantheon just hitting the turret cast and trying to look like he's a champion right now. Will we see the Rift Herald get
nice
dropped?
Damage to him, though.
No, we won't. So that first Pantheon ult is pretty much just wasted. Gets him a little bit of gold, but Pantheon, honestly, he doesn't scale with gold very well. In fact, he scales with gold pretty terribly after his first item, maybe his second.
Now, we do see Dragon spawning in just like a couple seconds. 3, 2, 1. Here it is. It's Infernal, and Pantheon does not have ulti to go in onto this. So if Kamikaze Penguins do contest, they will have a large pressure lead onto this. Kassadin does have TP. He's resetting right now, and I think they're going to have eyes currently trying to get that Dragon control.
Yeah, but I don't think they want to pick this fight anyways. We do see the Rift Herald being dropped mid, gonna get Pantheon about 300 some gold, maybe Vile steal some of it here. But 2 plates go down mid lane, but that's it. Just the 2 plates for the Rift Herald, not a very good trade. A lot of time is spent on that Rift Herald too. And this 2 kill advantage top lane is going to do wonders for the Mordekaiser in the 1v1, but it's not doing anything for the win condition of Team Spare Parts. They need to pick up this dragon. There's no way that Kamikaze Penguins should...
Kamikaze Penguins are looking at it here. They are looking for a brawl. They're going in for the flank. There goes the Morgana Q into the Ashe ulti. They have Nautilus down. Nasus comes in huge. Q onto the dragon, into a smite. Going on to Mordekaiser here. Mordekaiser's trying to run for his life, but he does get stacked by the Nasus. Huge shutdown going on to the Nasus here. They are going to be looking onto Lucian. They are looking on to the Nautilus. Kassadin is going to ult over the wall, is out of turret range, does take turret aggro. Down goes Kassadin, and then the minion does block the Nautilus Q. And that is going to be a big win for the side of Kamikaze Penguins. They got that dragon and a couple kills out of that too in a good trade.
Yeah, and that's just... It's really incredible that they won that fight. I don't know where Pantheon was at in that fight. I don't know if he was in that fight, but he didn't die. He still has both of his summoners up. So if he was in that fight, something went disastrously wrong for him. And Darius wasn't even there. So that's a 4 versus 4, I think, with the Pantheon not there.
Nice
and they still
ulti
won.
from Vi going over the wall, but Nasus blast plants over, flashes back to where he was before. Pantheon has the ignite onto Nasus, does take him out. That is a kill for Pantheon.
Yeah, and it's nice that the Pantheon's finally getting some kills, but it's a little bit too little too late. The Dragon rather, as we see another fight going in top lane, I don't think anyone's gonna die there. The Dragon does fall to the side of Kamikaze Penguins, and that slows down this rush so much. On top of that, it is actually an Ocean Rift, which is a huge boon for the side of Kamikaze Penguins. Or
now,
rather,
here
for
goes
the side.
and he is going to just try and all in the Pantheon, but quickly realizes that the Vi is going to be showing up soon and does disengage.
Yeah, sorry, rather for the side of Team Spare Parts, having a good Dragon instead of Cloud Soul, really important for them, but losing, we see a fight top lane again.
Big trade coming out. Massive ulti. It's doinking time. There he goes. Darius getting a nice kill on to the Mordekaiser, which will help him a lot in this lane.
Yeah, and despite Mordekaiser having a full completed item over the Darius's components, it's still just so brutal in that lane. If you make any sort of mistake, Darius can get in onto you and just chase you down and kill you. Alright, so with the Dragon going over the side of Kamikaze Penguins, it's going to slow down this Soul Rush so much for the side of Spare Parts that by the time they're working on Soul, Caston might actually have his entire core build completed. We do see him going back now. I think this will be his completion on the Rod of Ages. And with that done, it'll start stacking. It'll be stacked by 25.5 minutes.
Nice engage with the Nautilus into the Lucian. There is the spot watch from Morgana into a beautiful ulti. Ashe does take out Lucian, and she does go in onto the Nautilus, works the Nautilus, kills the Nautilus. Up here in top lane, we're having another major fight going down. We do see Nasus pick up on Vi, a double kill to Nasus, going down, taking out the Pantheon. This Nasus egg is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This dog is almost out of its cage, and it's coming out from the jungle after being punished hard early game.
Yeah, and this Nasus is ridiculous. He's got 330 stacks, by the way, as an update for those at home. I started getting a little worried about it when he killed the Dragon for 500 HP with it. But he might actually win this fight, here. Too.
No, I think he's definitely going down to the Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser stealing his his stats here, and now is going on to the Darius. But here comes Caston. Caston comes and blows up Mordekaiser. We do have Dragon spawning in about 1 minute here, 1 minute and 5 seconds, and that's going to be a huge favor in the side of Kamikaze Penguins. They might be looking for yet another Dragon. Caston is slowly coming online and becoming bigger of a threat. Nasus is a massive threat. He was just farming. He's just been focusing on himself, really collecting his Qs, and then just coming back, snowballing, and just going to make a huge impact on these next couple team fights.
Yeah, and this is really bad for Team Spare Parts. Even though the gold advantage is only 1,000, you have to think about how these champions are going to interact with each other in team fights. The best thing that can happen for Team Spare Parts is that this Mordekaiser will ult this Caston or this Nasus out of the team fight, but once they have their items, once they have a few more levels underneath them, that's not going to work. He's just going to die to one of them, and then they're going to come out and kill the rest of the team. Whereas, what's the rest of the team going to do? Lucian's going to dash into Ashe auto attacks. He's going to get slowed. Maybe he'll be able to keep up with Relentless Pursuit, but he's going to die immediately. He's going to get burst down, burned down by that. Caston's going to be able to one-shot him. Nasus is going to wither him. Pantheon doesn't do anything without a massive advantage, and he does not have a massive advantage. He's behind in a Caston lane at this point. He's not able to make the snowball happen. And this is one of the issues with picking these sorts of team comps. When you pick to punish scaling, it's very easy to get ahead early, but if you mess up at all, you're going to lose the game. And we see the Rift Herald going down mid. It'll answer, but the Dragon's going over the side of Kamikaze Penguins. There's practically no chance of getting a soul for the side of Team Spare Parts anymore. So they have to be looking at picking up sneak Barons, picking up picks on side lanes, punishing this Caston before he gets his next back off, pretty much. He needs probably another 1,000, 1,500 gold, and then his core builds online.
Nice ulti from the Nautilus here, but Morgana answering back with her own Q binding into an ult. Lucian doing a ton of damage. They're locking down the Ashe. Ashe actually has to flash away here. Here comes Pantheon coming in for the tower dive. Massive damage coming out. Does take out the Morgana, and that's a huge win on from Pantheon. It's going to help him out, get a little bit more pressure, help him really get that lead back.
We finally see the advantage of this Pantheon coming in. Helping out his side lanes after taking some priority mid lane is what you really want to see out of this champion. But we needed to see that 10 minutes ago. We needed to see this Pantheon and Vi hit 6, them just 4 versus 2 turret dive bot lane, because there's nothing a Castan and Nasus are going to be able to do about that. Now that the Castan is really starting to reach his power spike, still needs to back and buy his items, but he's continuing to farm really well, 150 CS at 19 minutes here. The top lane really low farming just because of the amount of fighting and roaming and walking around they've had to do. They're not going to be able to contest these super strong picks. And this Nasus in the jungle still completing his core itemization, but 405 stacks at 20 minutes now. And just really just a disgusting amount of damage coming out on these Nasus Qs. If he's able to get onto a target, he is going to destroy them already.
Very fun. There is some key players to watch on both teams. Nasus being huge and the Pantheon roams being very aggressive if they can get a good tower dive. Who should be watching and why?
Well, at this point, it's just still, we watch the Castam's item bar. As soon as that takes over to a Seraph's Embrace and that tier upgrades, it's currently stacked at 500, by the way, so not long on that. His itemization, he still needs about 900 gold to finish off the Archangel staff. But once that comes in off of what, again, probably is next back, he's going to be huge, and that's going to be the time for Kamikaze Penguins to start looking for fights. It's not going to be super in their advantage at the beginning, so maybe they want to slow play it a little bit. But as soon as, like, they're going to keep scaling. Team Spare Parts team comp never gets stronger than it is right now. The Lucian's at his 1 item power spike, Vi's at her 1.5 item power spike. The Mordekaiser gets a little stronger, but not noticeably so.
He is sending Darius to the Shadow Realm. As the famous DBZ fight goes, Castan's watching the two going to go and the balls colliding. The Mordekaiser does come out on top, but the Castan is ready to re-engage onto Mordekaiser. Down goes Mordekaiser. Castan has a quick cleanup here, and now it looks like Team Spare Parts are definitely going to be focusing down on mid lane, trying to crack open some of these turrets and getting a little bit closer into an inhibitor.
Yeah, and oddly enough, the 2 roles that should have lost, as we see an engagement.
Whoa, nice Ashe ulti onto the Pantheon, and then the re-engage from Vi on to Ashe there with the Lucian damage is massive. Nasus is being kited away there, but he still wants more. He's still really big. He has a lot of Qs farm and is ready just to almost... You have 2 heavy champions who can almost 1v9 this game. Casted and Nasus, very heavy scaling champions.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where it's at right now. Like, the Castan and the Nasus, as you said, both 1v9 champions when they get farm, when they get scaling, and they have reached that point. The Archangel staff has been picked up for the Castan, working on the Seraphs, currently at 600 tier stacks. The Nasus at 500 Q stacks after this red buff falls down, and just absolutely insurmountable amounts of scaling. As I was saying before, Team Spare Parts are never getting stronger. Their team comp's never going to get better than it is right now, and they need to leverage that. But it's so hard because they're behind this game. They're only up 1,000 gold. Castan's ahead of the Pantheon in the mid lane. Their only advantage is coming in the top lane, really. And that's not really that big of an advantage. It's just a Mordekaiser being able to stand up to the Darius.
Now,
We really
they
need
do
to see
have
a
eyes
big
on Pantheon here. He does ulti out of the pit, back to his team to safety, and they're going to be looking to either fight for this dragon while Mordekaiser pushes, or just stall it out as much as possible so Mordekaiser could crack open an inhibitor. But they took that dragon way too fast, and they're ready to fight back, catching the Nautilus with the Ashe Q, with the Ashe ult into the Nautilus, and Morgana bind there. It's going to be very interesting what they're going to be doing next. I think they're going to be pushing down a couple turrets. Someone has to answer back with the Mordekaiser top side, and they're going to be sending two. They're going to be sending the Darius and Morgana after them as well. That was really fast, really quick, and now it puts them on soul point.
But this is the advantage. This is the chance, right? They can engage with the Morgana on there. There's no black shield. They need to find a way in onto this Ashe.
There they go, and they're fighting in, like you said, but the the Vi does fall to the Nasus, and now they're looking on to the Lucian there. The Wither going down, making sure he's not going to be moving. Kassadin coming in, blowing up the Lucian as well with the Ashe damage, with the Ashe slows. It's almost impossible to escape from those two.
Yeah, and this is a point in time when you can turn on the Baron, but it doesn't matter for this team at this point. They're so strong on the side of Kamikaze Penguins. They, Kassadin and the Nasus are gonna keep scaling infinitely. This Darius doesn't even have to be on the map. It could legitimately be 4 versus 5, and I think that it would be advantage to win this game. But alas, there is a Darius here. He's gonna keep fighting. He's actually reasonably strong himself, despite his scoreline. Going in onto the Mordekaiser under the turret.
He does get into the Shadow Realm there. Having to restack those passives is a huge counterplay into the Mordekaiser Darius fight.
Yeah, a bit over-aggressive there from the Darius, trying to feel like he's one of the 1v9 carries as well. But it doesn't matter at this point. He's just, like I said, he could not be playing this game, and the Kassadin and Nasus would be able to take it from here. His entire job is to provide some early game respite for them and allow them to scale to this point, and he's done his job.
So we see that the teams are almost even here in the gold differential. What does each team have to do to really amplify a lead and really carry this game further into an ending or into just the obliteration of the other team? What do they got to do here?
Kamikaze Penguins could do nothing for the rest of this game, and they would always be ahead. That's one of the benefits of picking hard scaling. It can be lame sometimes to watch games like this from a casting perspective, or rather from a viewer perspective. But it's simply the facts right now. They don't need to make any aggressive plays, except for the fact that they get to make aggressive plays whenever they want now. The Kassadin has reached his core item spike. He's building into a Lich Bane to do even more damage, not even needing the Zhonya's. We see the Nasus is probably at 600 plus stacks by now. In fact, he is.
There goes the Pantheon ulti going in. They are going to try and target either Morgana and or the Ashe there, but unable to catch the Ashe. They're going on to Morgana, but there is a massive Q from the Nasus going in. Just going to be being a monster. Ashe ulti landing onto the Lucian in the backline. This Qs are massive. Very low here. Kassadin's going to be for a quick cleanup. He's going to get a double kill, possibly into a triple kill. Does get the triple kill. Will he get the quadra? He does have ulti coming in. There's the quadra. There is. Oh my word. Is he going to be able to come back for the penta? They might just finish him off.
Don't
They're going into the
Darius, kill
realm.
yourself.
There he is. There he is. And now, are they going to be able to get it? Is that a penta kill coming in hot from the Kassadin? Beautiful play. Great work on the Nasus, holding them there, waiting for his team. Kassadin, amazing cleanup, just doing that big damage that we were waiting for. This Kassadin is large and in charge.
Yeah, and this is the 2-item power spike that Kassadins are looking for. The full stacked Roa, the Seraph's Embrace. It's here. He is absolutely insurmountable at this point. He's too strong to deal with. It's only a 2,000 gold advantage, but that doesn't matter. The champion's interactions for the side of Kamikaze Penguins is just so much stronger than the way that they're going to be playing on Team Spare Parts. We see the counter pick.
Look at
just
the massive amount of damage, and he might be able just to escape from this as well. Here comes the Vi ultimate. He does proc the shield. He is going to keep ulting away. The Ashe ulti comes in large, taking out Vi. He re-engages back in. Kassadin is not done. Ashe going in, doing her damage. Morgana is there to support them as well. Here's Nasus. They are going to be looking for soul here.
Yeah, and a great cross-map Ashe arrow coming in there, protecting the Kassadin from the Vi. They're allowing him to turn it around. Caston 11-1-6 now. He has outscaled. He has done his job. And let's not forget, the start of that last team fight was a 4 versus 2 for Ghana and Nasus, and they almost won it.
We do see a nice
That's also
exchange going on
Ocean
mid
Bull
lane
going
here.
over the side of
And
Kamikaze.
Darius is going to be able to get the kill onto Mordekaiser, but unable to take out Lucian under the turret. Lucian does pick up the kill here onto the Darius.
Yeah, and that's Ocean Soul to the side of Kamikaze Penguins. This game's over. I can't, honestly, they have to steal an Elder Dragon to have any chance at winning a team fight. But even then, Lucian's not even continuing to build crit. Maybe if Lucian had an Infinity Edge right now, I could say Lucian, Q, auto, dash, auto, all crits on Caston with Elder Dragon would one-shot it. That's a way to win a team fight. I don't know how you kill Nasus, but you could kill the Caston with some really lucky RNG from the Lucian, but there's no Infinity Edge coming in there either, so I don't know how he's going to be able to make that happen. It's sitting and waiting, looking into next game at this point, honestly. I think it's worth talking about how we talked a little bit about counterpick earlier.
SMC's a Pantheon, but he does get picked off and has a buy and a Pantheon on him. He is just going to try and disengage, just get the flash onto them. Again with the Ash ult from across the bay there. Incredible Ash ult every time. I have been watching them, they've been flying, and they've been hitting their targets consistently. Incredible play. There goes Caston again. He's not dead. He's going back in. He's going to be leaving. Darius does get a very nice pick onto the Nautilus. They're going on to Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser is trying just to chunk down literally anything, but it might not be enough. There is a Caston on his face, and down he goes. Caston does pick up that other kill there, and that's going to be a Baron possibly into just cracking open the base.
Yeah, and that 1.4 second Rift Walk cooldown is coming in big there. Another great cross-map Ash arrow coming out of this Ash. Absolutely saves Caston's life for a second time. Honestly, I'd be a little bit tilted if I'm on the side of Team Spare Parts, because getting that 1k shutdown onto Caston could give you an avenue back in the game. You could find something with it if you were able to get it, but twice now getting just blue-balled, honestly, by these Ash ults, and just so close yet so far on the Caston. He comes back in, he gets Mordekaiser ulted. Mordekaiser can't kill him, he tries to run him down, but he just dances around him with the ulti. Death cap now onto this Caston. 6 items being neared by him. This game is rough. We talked a little bit earlier about scaling. We talked in our other matches about scaling and counter picks. And if you're not able to make the aggressive, these red comps, these early game one item spike comps work, this is what happens. The game is, I'll say literally unwinnable, because I think this game is like 99.5 in the favor of Kamikaze Penguins. They could win if anyone saved the Nasus or Caston DC this game, just 4 versus 5 very easily. They have the Ocean's Soul.
Wow, that's a lot of damage on to Mordekaiser. He just gets deleted there. He does try and ult the Caston into his own realm, but it's not enough. Here comes Nasus. He's the big dog. He gets ulted, but that's not enough. He does get the Nautilus ulti. He just flashes onto Lucian, doing literally half his HP bar there, and there's just going to be complete obliteration from Kamikaze Penguins. They're coming in hot. Nasus is taking both turrets. He does fall to the turrets. Ash getting a triple kill. They're taking both turrets. They're going on to the Nexus. GG for Kamikaze Penguins.
Yeah, great showing coming out from them. The Caston just dumpsters the entire backside of this game. And the Nasus jungle really has a strong showing this game. I think he probably finished with 750, maybe even 800 stacks at 33 minutes. Absolute monster in the jungle, super big tank for his front line, letting the Caston do everything he needs to do in these team fights. Ash with some stupendous cross-map ultis, saving the teammates, saving the Caston. Just great showing coming out of Kamikaze Penguins. And Spare Parts, I don't want to say they played badly, they just missed their timing. and there's nothing you can do when you miss your timing in a one-item spike comp like this. And it's just that. As far as Ace and MVP goes, I'm hesitant to give MVP to the Kassadin just because he's Kassadin, and what are you going to do when you hit late game? But I also have to give it to the Kassadin because this Kassadin just 1v9 some of these team fights, played really well. So MVP goes over to him. Special shout out to the Ashe Arrows. The Morgana had a really solid lane phase from what I saw, and the Nasus pick in the jungle really worked out. As far as Ace comes in, I guess you give it to the Mordekaiser because they made plays in the top lane, they took advantages, but there's just nothing the Mordekaiser can do against these scaling picks.
Very well said, and I couldn't agree more. I really love those Ashe ultis from downtown, really coming in clutch for a lot of those big team fights there. Great fighting, good performance on both sides there, and great job Kamikaze Penguins going and really just performing what they built and using the tools to their advantage and really playing really safe, really passive early, and then coming in hyper aggressive into the mid to late game after those snowball advantages. When we get back, we will watch the second game between these two teams here. Kamikaze Penguins versus Team Spare Parts.
Hello and welcome back to CasualEAL Week 4 Day 1. We are looking at Game 2 of Team Spare Parts versus Kamikaze Penguins. In the first game, Kamikaze Penguins pulled off a really hard scaling comp with Cast in mid and Nasus jungle, hit their timings and closed out the game in quick fashion after that. As we move into Game 2 here, I'm curious to know what your thoughts on the last game are, Ryder. Once you unmute yourself. All right, so it looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. Hopefully that gets resolved in a little bit. Moving into this next game here, I'm looking forward to seeing whether or not Honestly, I'd like to see more equal scaling comps. If Kamikaze Penguins insists on picking things like Kasten, it's going to be hard to match them in scaling, so maybe banning out the Kasten and trying to match them in other places. Top lane went well last game, but the Pantheon counter pick didn't go the way you wanted it, and it's pretty clear that you don't have enough practice on that pick to really snowball the side lanes with it in the early game. So it's a pretty risky counter pick with that level of experience. Otherwise, while we get this tech resolved, let's move into game, and we'll take it from there. Awesome. As we see ourselves getting into game here between Kamikaze, Penguins, and Team Spare Parts in the top lane, we have a rematch. Mordekaiser versus Darius once again. Same runes, same summoner spells, same thing as last game. I'll touch on it a little bit at the end side here. In the jungle, we see Jarvan versus Nunu. Nunu running Ghost and Aftershock. Very strange Nunu build. Very interesting. I'm looking forward to see what happens there. Nunu should be able to keep up in farm with the Jarvan, but Jarvan's level 2 gank can be pretty deadly, so we should watch out for that. In the mid lane, we see a Set mid versus a Veigar. Veigar's obviously going to have a bit of wave clear and scaling advantage, but Set really powerful at looking for kills, all-ins, and scales tank-wise very well into the mid game. Probably just looking to survive that lane in general, and Veigar will have no way to poke him out. In the bot lane, we have Morgana Tristana versus Sona Jinx. That's a really, really strong all-in lane from the side of Team Spare Parts. There's Tristana jump after a Dark Binding from Morgana hits has a lot of potential to just kill someone outright. And it's very difficult to avoid that if you're the Sona or the Jinx. So as long as they're able to hit the Dark Binding, I expect to see kills going down in the bot lane. With that said, if they're able to dodge said Dark Binding, Jinx should be scaling really well in the late game, as will Sona.
Very interesting here. I did get my internet back and running. Sorry about that there, folks. My internet crashed at the wrong time, but we're back into this. And, sorry about the delay there, Hunter.
Yeah, no worries. I like doing solo casts. We do see the level 2 gank as listed coming in down bot lane.
First blood going to the Jarvan, coming in hot. The Tristana landing her E, really proccing that, and just a massive explosion. They are going to really enjoy that bot side. Tristana can come out heavy into the late game. Getting her snowballed will be very interesting into future team fights.
Yeah, exactly. And shutting down the Sona in this lane a little bit, cutting off a little bit of her early experience by making sure she's missing some of this wave, is going to be really important towards winning this bot lane. The Sona's going to be able to mostly counter the poke coming out of the side of the Tristan and the Morgana, but the all-in, as mentioned, is going to be the place where we look for stuff to happen. We see Jarvan straight into mid lane, still up
great EQ combo. Set max range E, pulling the Veigar back. Veigar was actually caged himself and stayed inside for safety until he was able to escape there, but it wasn't enough damage from the Jarvan, from the Set, and he lives with his life.
Yeah, Veigar retreating into his panic room a little bit there, saying, you can't come in here, I want to be left alone. Tries to run under his turret, gets countered by the Set, but still walks away with his life, pulling down the flash. But Jarvan's back.
Oh, here we go again. He's re-engaged. The safe zone is too far into the lane here. Here comes Set. He's going to flash in. And yeah, I think he actually got turret aggroed as well. And Set gets a solo kill onto the Veigar. Jarvan just zoning him down and just really...
Jarvan has 4 CS and he's ganked 3 times. I don't know what's happening right now. He's he is 12 CS, maybe 16 after the scuttle. We'll see how this goes if he's able to smite it down.
And he's going into the Nunu. This Jarvan won't quit. He has Set here as well. They're going on to Nunu. There is the Veigar protecting his jungler, going in with a nice cage, really just poking down this Jarvan and just harassing him. This Jarvan has had a super hyper aggressive early game.
Yeah, just absolutely playing to his team's advantages here. This is what we wanted to see last game, come out of the jungle. This is what we need to see when you're playing into something like Caston last game, Nasus jungle last game. This is what you see out of junglers, and I'm really excited to see that adaptation coming out this game. Putting a lot of early pressure on the scaling picks in the bot lane and in the mid lane. Nunu coming in for a gank,
Yeah,
but Tristana still has jump.
Well, she does just sidestep the ball, wait for it to crash onto the wall there, and ease away with the Morgana shield up. It does leave her relatively safe in these skirmishes. Now we see rematch all in 1v1 top side here. Once again, Darius is just waiting. He's getting his proc off.
No.
He is in level 6 though. The Mordekaiser.
Oh,
The proc from the passive Darius. They are not level 6 this time. Darius knows if I trade him, I can really put in a heavy amount of damage and then just leave there. The Mordekaiser not able to keep the Darius in his bubble, in that health just attack there. They like long skirmishes, both of these champions. It's very fun to watch.
Yeah, and it's just really all-in trades top lane all the time if you're going to be seeing stuff like that. Both these champions thrive on it. Set going really low mid lane, but it's Set. I don't actually know if he has to back because he's got 30 HP regen per second right now. He is Dr. Mundo when he's at that HP. We do see him eventually. He does go back to base. He still has TP up to match mid lane. He won't lose too much pressure if he chooses to use it, and he will. Just getting his first purchase off, working towards that Blade of the Ruined King that we so often see sets building these days. Bot lane, we do see a pretty massive CS advantage already developed for this Tristana, thanks to that level 2 gank. And
nice view bind from Morgana into a beautiful prediction from Jarvan, zoning down to Sona, and Tristana jumping in, getting the kill, jumping out. Beautiful. Now she is a 1-0-1 Tristana. She is going to hyperscale relatively quickly, and they're going to be punishing Sona for not being there. She's going to miss out on a lot of experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Monte Carlo method from the jungle on this Jarvan, making massive plays this game. The prediction on the Sona flash there with the EQ flag and drag combo just picks up the kill. CCs are even further, allows the Tristana to flash in over the traps, pick up the kill there. Mordekaiser having a little bit of a whoopsie with his Q there, getting pulled in by the Darius. Darius is level 6.
Darius is level 6, and Mordekaiser is not, so this could be a huge all-in from the Darius. He is going to walk away. The slow from the Mordekaiser is going to push him off.
Yeah, playing with fire
as well as Mordekaiser hitting level 6 right here. That could have been like a really big oopsie on Darius's part if he did go for the turret dive.
Yeah, but really playing with fire there on the side of Mordekaiser. That Darius had cripple up right as he left auto attack range, and if that cripple hits, the slows him into one more auto into the Darius ulti, and that's just a guaranteed kill at that point in time. Really, really close trades top lane. Really playing with fire as this Mordekaiser, trying to get back into this lane after that early solo kill.
Yeah, couldn't agree more here, Hunter. As well as I want to know the dynamic between these two teams here. Are they similar to last game? Is there a hyperscaling? Is there just pick comps? Are they looking for team fights? Are they looking for objectives? What do you think's gonna happen?
Well, we see another engage coming in bot lane.
We see another engage bot lane.
Damage.
Massive damage. Huge bomb coming out of Tristana. There was a gank mid lane, but one then able to really catch the set as well. Jarvan is posturing towards the dragon. It might go into Nunu's jungle, try and see if he's there. If he's not there, he might just go for the dragon.
So, as you asked earlier about the team dynamics here, not the team, but the dynamics between these teams, rather. From the side of Kamikaze Penguins, they still will outscale. Veigar obviously technically infinitely scales, but Veigar does not scale in the same way that Caston does. The Veigar will be buying his early items, then he'll build into a death cap, and he'll spike at 3 items, but he doesn't keep getting stronger in the same way that Caston does, as we see another gank coming in bot lane. Don't think anything will come of it.
Well, Morgana Q just missing onto the Veigar there. Jarvan is here to respond. You see Set and Nunu both in the mid lane, and Set actually posturing towards the Vigar. He might go in for a river fight here. Morgana flash Q onto Jinx. Incredible pick onto her. Ulting down Jinx. Here goes the Tristana. She does get the bomb up. Is it enough to kill? It is. Tristana gets the bomb, gets the Jinx as well. She's going to be jumping in one more time there, and that will secure Dragon for Team Spare Part.
Yeah, and that's just, this is the early game advantage that this team comp has. As I was mentioning earlier, since Vagar's not going to scale in the same way as Caston, he's always going to one-shot you once he has that death cap. The only thing he scales a little bit better against is if he keeps scaling, he might eventually be able to one-shot people like Set or Mordekaiser. But the Tristana is going to get one-shot as soon as he has death cap, and that's never going to change. So and on top of that, he's not a 1v9 champion. He's not going to be able to absolutely destroy team fights in the same way. Notably, Jinx, despite being obviously a hard scaling pick, she's mostly a snowball pick. If you're not getting ahead on Jinx, or if you're not getting just raw stats on her, it's going to be really, really hard for her to do enough damage in team fights. She has no real attack steroids.
There's a nice combo going down onto Vigar here. Massive damage coming out with the Jarvan EQ. Definitely going to be locking down the kill onto Vigar. And this has been hyper-aggressive Jarvan. I have been watching his pathing, watching where he's going, and it's been nothing but a fiesta. He's having the time of his life. Mr. Worldwide, if you will. He has been making gank after gank after gank, almost making every lane on the map almost impossible.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so hard to play this Vagar into this Jarvan when he's just going to keep coming to your lane, keep walking in. You don't have mid 2v2 pressure because you're playing Vagar. You can't help your Nunu, the Nunu can't help you, and you just gotta really concede a lot of these deaths, and there's almost nothing you can do about it as Vagar if you want to keep farming and scaling. As I was saying about the Jinx though, she's not going to scale if she can't get the damage items, and it's really hard for her to build damage items consistently. So she really relies on getting free stats from level advantages or from her passive.
Nice double Sona ult. He flashes in, hits the R button, makes them both do a little dance. Jinx is going in onto Morgana there. Jinx doing her ultimate. Morgana actually landing off the stopwatch. Nunu going in, doing his ultimate. They're both out, but that is a very low Morgana. They're going to be pushing this in, and they're going to try and see if they can either A, grab a pick, maybe see if Morgana is still there, or grab a couple turrets.
And this is only going to be one plate, if even that, for the side of Kamikaze Penguins. They will pick up the plate bot lane. That's a nice reward for that gank. But no kill coming in for the splash Sona ult. The exhaust coming out of Sona. The Nunu spending time bot lane with nothing available to pick up over there. And Rift Herald actually went down during that time. Going over to the side of Team Spare Parts, going to help them snowball some of these turret plates, hopefully, and get an advantage in another lane.
I know I've been talking about Jarvan a lot, but I want to keep another note on him here. He does have the level disadvantage onto Nunu. Nunu is very good at taking objectives, very good, especially in early with his Q, with his smite. He can really outtrade basically any jungler. But what we're seeing here is so much just plays from Jarvan, watching where Nunu is, going for the major objectives where Nunu cannot show up enough, not show up in time to really contest it, and he's been just nothing but a playmaker and going in and really shutting down what's Nunu's what he's really known for, and it's been absolutely outstanding what he's performing this game.
Absolutely. As we do see, there's Jarvan continuing to go mid. He still has the Rift Herald looking for an advantage. Drop that. Rotation coming out of the Nunu, coming out of the Sona. Sona's going to hard scale this game. That's actually one of the biggest places that Kamikaze Penguins can find an advantage, is if they get Sona somehow to level 16, and she gets, is 75%, 85% maybe CDR thanks to her ulti.
We're seeing a gank from Nunu, but Morgana landing a nice Q binding onto him as well. Nunu going on to Ghost. They're going to try and pick up the Tristana, unable to get the stun off on her as she does E and jump away. Here comes Jarvan. He's also going to be hyper-aggressive, landing a massive ultimate on two members The Jinx and the Sona are in danger. They are going to keep going in. There is the set. What a great engage and a good counter gank from the side of Team Spare Parts. They have been phenomenal. They have been really on top of this Nunu, and it feels like a brand new team here. It feels like they are really taking full advantage of the power spikes that they have.
Absolutely, and this is exactly what we wanted to see last game out of them, and it's really great to see it now. From the side of Kamikaze Penguins, so we really need to see this Nunu stop ganking bot lane. Stop going in. It's Morgana Tristana. They're gonna jump out. They have a black shield. Sona doesn't even have ulti up right now. I know you're looking to help this Jinx out. She's down a massive amount of farm, but you're just hurting her at this point. They're gonna keep counter ganking you. They know you're coming down here. They have TPs available. Mordekaiser's TP is still available, but Darius doesn't have one. He's on Ignite. So they're going to be able to counter gank you every time now, and you're just going to keep putting your bot lane farther and farther behind. You got to take the loss down there. Maybe rotate your bot laners out of there. Throw the Veigar down bot lane.
Nunu going in onto the set, really pushing it up, knowing that there's going to be a mountain dragon here. We'll see what comes of it. Jarv dropping down the Shelly, trying to do that counter pressure. They're going to have to really poke down Shelly because they don't want it.
We're losing a little bit on the connection there, but yeah, absolutely. They don't want to concede this dragon over, but I think they might need to. This Mordekaiser still has TP, he can rejoin. He's getting a lot of pressure in on the top lane turret there as well at the same time. Jinx is too far behind. Completely down in a completed item, hasn't finished her Infinity Edge yet.
There's a nice snowball onto Jarvan, exhausting him down, really putting the pressure on. They do get the ulti, but Tristana immediately ults Nunu away from that, doing massive damage to Sona. She does get out, but is it enough? Are they going to do the next re-engage? Mordekaiser is just going to farm top lane, and if he's doing that, he's actually keeping secure more. Oh, Mordekaiser had off.
Yeah, Mordekaiser pushing down top turret, getting into tier 1. As they turn onto the Mountain Dragon on the bot side of the map, we will see Team Spare Parts started up. They have a really big advantage, and I don't think there's going to be a contest available, but Nunu posturing into the pit. Darius walking up, seeing if he can catch anyone. The Black Shield comes down onto the set, getting him out of that baby cage.
Oh, it's back!
And the Cloud Soul is back. That's actually really, really good for the side of Kamikaze Penguins. The fact that even if they concede Soul this game, it's not going to be the end of the world. There's not going to be the extra stats from Mountain. There's not going to be the extra damage from Infernal. And there's not going to be the insurmountable healing coming out of an Ocean Soul. Cloud Soul will help with the set engage. It'll help with the Jarvan follow-up and the Morgana ulti and the... You can't walk away from Mordekaiser if he has Soul, obviously. But that's not the end of the world. You can beat that in a team fight if you have a farmed Jinx and a farmed Veigar at the start of it. Looking around the map right now.
Shelly also respawning here. If Team Spare Parts gets this as well, they could do even more damage to Kamikaze Penguin.
Yeah, and that's picking up the second Rift Herald here will be really nice for breaking maybe even this mid lane turret. Getting the Veigar's mid lane turret gone is going to be really nice for them this game because it'll give them a lot of map pressure and keep the Veigar completely.
Now the Jarvan is stuck. The Jarvan ultis, but a Nunu responds perfectly with another ulti. Massive damage down onto the Jarvan, but Mordekaiser is here. Set is here. There is going to be the Bork proc onto Nunu. He's just gonna run away for his life. He is being chased by Set, being chased by Mordekaiser. He's gonna try and run to Darius. He does regroup with Darius, but now we see bot lane getting a massive engage onto the Jinx there. And Sona does ult both of them, but it's already gone. That Jinx has been bursted down, and it was in danger.
Yeah, and this is what we talked about at the beginning of the game. If these Morgana Qs manage to hit, which they have a lot, they're just going to die. The Sona Jinx has no way to stop the Tristana from all-inning them. With the rocket jump, with the buster shot, and with the explosive charge, she's just going to nuke anyone she touches. Veigar's doing his best to farm up mid lane despite the early deaths he's taken with 120 stacks, but that's that's too little too late right now. He's not got enough. He's not going to be able to impact these fights. Two Dragons already going over to the side of Team Spare Parts as they work on this bot lane turret. Nunu's posturing around it, but he can't stop this Tristana. She's massive, working on her second item right now. Looks like she'll be building into an Infinity Edge second item as well. Just raw damage, really getting the most out of the attack speed buff from her rapid fire, not needing to build extra attack speed on this champion. We see Jarvan instead working on the second Rift Herald.
And it's right before the 20-minute mark where Baron spawns. This is a really nice, and it can really extend into like an unpredictable spot where you're not really expecting a Rift at that time, and it can make a massive damage if you're not ready.
Yeah, and Baron 2 spawning in 20 seconds, and you might think it's a little early to think about that, but this Tristana is so far ahead in her itemization, she'll actually be able to burn down this dragon a little bit alongside the Leandries coming out of the top laner on the Mordekaiser. That's so much percent HP damage and just raw DPS coming out of the two carries here that they're actually going to be able to hit that if they get an opportunity to alone. We do have to be careful this game. Technically, Kamikaze Penguins still have a scaling advantage with the Sona, with the Veigar. Jinx isn't going to scale that well at this point. She's too far behind. She might not even become a champion this entire game. We'll see. She might be able to pull it back in team fights if she gets some resets. She'll have some okay wave clear too, just thanks to rockets.
Oh, here comes Morgana, flash into the double ulti. Jinx does get out, but Sona does not. Down she falls to the EQ ulti from Jarvan. Tristana's there, backing them up. Giant Nunu ulti, but Tristana blasts him away. Nice Q from Morgana, landing it onto Jinx, and Jinx firing back with her ultimate, but it's not enough damage and doesn't actually pick up the Jarvan. It does land on Morgana, and so they're just going to go back to seeing that Dragon's going to be up in about 30 seconds. It's going to be quite interesting on how this next fight's going to break out.
Yeah, and exactly. It's even though Cloud Soul isn't really the be-all end-all, still getting the Dragons is a good thing to do if your team's Spare Parts, not giving over any advantage for free, not giving it over any ulti CDR to people like Sona or Veigar. Being able to do what they need to do, if they're able to, from the side of Kamikaze Penguins, if they are able to scale for maybe another 10 or 15 minutes, they'll be able to start initiating these team fights with the Sona ulti and the Jinx ulti coming in, helping the Darius get resets, helping the Veigar one-shot someone will be really important. But until then, it's going to be really hard. They will pick up this Dragon thanks to a reset timing coming out from the side of Team Spare Parts, but that's not a big deal. The Cloud Soul's not going to be the be-all end-all of this game. You can practically ignore Dragons for the sake of stat-wise because they don't give any stats, just some mediocre ulti CDR. And we see Baron still on the map. It's honestly, sometimes it might just be better to pick up the gold, pick up your free resets here, instead of going for that Dragon and spending a bunch of people there.
Almost an all-in on the side of Kamikaze Penguins going to try and pick up Set here. Veigar and Sona both here. Set re-engaging, actually ulting the Nunu back into his team there, but that's not going to be enough to the Veigar. Veigar does shut down the Set. That's going to be a massive gold going to the side of Kamikaze Penguins.
I know this is a little weird, but I almost think you want to give that shutdown to Sona there. We see another engage coming in bot lane, but he will get Buster shotted away. He will survive. I think you might have wanted to give that shutdown to Sona. Get her ahead on items. She's got a tier and a forbidden idol. She is so far behind in itemization, especially if you're looking to complete the Seraph's Embrace, complete the what I imagine is either an Ardent Sensor or a Mikhail's coming out this game for the Sona. And then you also want to complete the Lich Bane on her if you want her to be outputting damage in team fights, which she doesn't have to this game. But you really need to get her some gold. You need to get this itemization kick started on her if she wants to be able to scale and survive in some of these team fights.
Oh, Mordekaiser sees Jinx and goes, into the Shadow Realm we go! Gets a nice E, gets a nice Q, auto, and down she goes to the Mordekaiser passive.
Yeah, and that's the fourth death coming out on the Jinx, having a really rough game here, not having much opportunities to do things. We see the Baron, too, being threatened, honestly, just like I said earlier, avoiding all the vision from the Scuttlecraft, great walking techniques coming out from the side of Team Spare Parts. And they're burning it down. Mordekaiser still has TP available. They don't even, I don't think...
You see a TP coming up from Vygar. He might try and go for a sneaky steal, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough damage.
No, and he just doesn't have the burst to get it over the wall there. He would need to time his W perfectly, but that can be played around from Team Spare Parts. So the 24-minute Baron does fall down to them. That's a big advantage. They should be able to break all of the outer turrets with this if they're careful and they don't get picked off. They'll split push easy 1-3-1 this game too. It's going to be so hard to engage on the Morgana Tristana mid lane, even as 5 versus 3. Nunu comes in bot lane trying to harass his Mordekaiser, but I don't think he cares.
No, it doesn't look like it. Mordekaiser's pretty chunky, has a couple core items being built here, and the Mordekaiser ulti should be coming up relatively soon here, actually, too. So he's just gonna keep posturing down bot, trying to just keep it pushed for his team, trying to keep almost like all the lanes being pushed at the same time with the same amount of pressure. And once again, you see that 1-3-1 like you were saying earlier, and it should be going to go for some outer turrets, at least 1 or 2. They can't send everyone to someone unless they take a pick on one of the lanes.
Yeah, exactly. And getting a pick on these lanes is going to be so hard because you need 3 or more people to resist the Tristana push mid lane. But she doesn't have to hit the turret. We've seen
That's a nice Q from Morgana onto Sona there. Not able to really pick her up. Really respecting that Jinx and the Nunu are there. Morgana's just landing Q after Q. Nunu does go for an ulti there, really just trying to focus them off, but the pressure and the amount of damage they can DPS down just keeps pushing the wave in, keep just chipping at this tower slowly but surely. They'll break it open.
Yeah, and this is really great play coming in from the side of Team Spare Parts. Really, honestly, like super high level macro play and really good amount of restraint here. Never walking up to hit the turret when it's unsafe in the mid lane. Side lane's just playing it slow, letting the cannons do the damage. Now we see top lane turret about to fall down as well. They rotate, they take the bot lane outer. Top lane turret, probably, I think it's at about 200 HP right now. They can come clean that up at any point in time. Super effective use of their Baron. It'll be falling off soon. They haven't broken the base, but you don't expect to break the base with that first Baron in this game. You just use it to pressure like this. Cloud's Dragon is spawning. That'll put them at soul point. I don't expect to see any serious form of contest come out of the side of Kamikaze Penguins. And just
they're going to look for it. Here comes the Nunu. Massive speed, rolling down the blue side of his jungle. But they take the dragon rather really fast and just exit out just cleanly.
Yeah, the dragon's already gone. The top lane turret's gone as soon as the wave hits it, so we'll be seeing that gold go into the inventory. It's a let's say 8,500 gold advantage for the side of Team Spare Parts. This is more than what their comp needed to do to get ahead in this game and to take winning in team fights. The Veigar, as we said before, he can scale, but he hasn't even started work on his death cap now. He doesn't have Spooky Ghosts, so he can't find picks anywhere near as effectively. Those picks could be essential for getting them back in the game, but he can't afford to build it at this point either because he needs to complete that death cap to be able to pressure in these late game team fights. Especially the Elder fight, which is going to come up. I'm just assuming it's a mute point that they will pick up Cloud Soul if the game's not over by then for the side of Team Spare Parts. And you can't really contest in either of the side lanes. The Mordekaiser's still a bit stronger than the Darius. Darius hasn't scaled into any completed damage items. And the Veigar does his best to hold off the set, but the set's just going to walk at the turret. He's going to let the cannons do the damage, and he's going to be unkillable himself. And really just suffocating gameplay coming out of the side of Team Spare Parts with that Baron. Actually, that Baron looked better than SKT's Barons that last Worlds. Let me tell you, holy cow, their Barons look bad. That Baron, like, SKT could legitimately learn something from that Baron power.
That was a nice exhaust onto set into a Sona ulti here, but incredible damage coming out from Tristana, just doing massive damage, just hitting her E and just a couple auto attacks onto Sona makes her almost go down to half health. And now we see another engage going onto set, but Set's just gonna walk away. He doesn't really want much out of that, and you can really just see the patience that Spare Parts has here, and really. Oh, we do see a Tristana in danger. She did try and jump out, but does fall short, does get shut down by Vigar. Here comes Set. He's going to be ulting into the team there. Is it going to be enough to really stop them, though? Nunu gets a really nice ultimate, but sent to the Shadow Realm by Mordekaiser, which may have just changed the whole turn of this fight here. There goes Morgana. Massive,
I didn't know that
Q from
interaction.
Morgana.
It just canceled the damage.
It
That
canceled the
just saved
damage.
that entire team fight.
That was incredible. I have not seen that interaction before, and it's fascinating to know that Nunu almost had a max range Nunu ultimate, but Mordekaiser comes in, says, nope, we're going to the Shadow Realm. You can hit me, but not my team, and it completely changed the tides.
Yeah, and Jinx didn't pick up any kills in that team fight either. Sure, she picked up some assists, but no shutdowns. She didn't pick up the shutdown going onto the Tristana. It did go over to Veigar. Really good for him. But this Jinx is going to need to be a damage threat in these team fights, and for that, she's gonna need some kills. She's gonna need some more farm. She's probably gonna need 3, maybe even 4 items to really output the damage. We see Baron being worked on again by Team Spare Parts. And the Nunu is coming in to contest. I don't really think it's safe to finish this, but they might go for it anyways.
Yeah, they gotta do something. They gotta make a play. Here comes Morgana, landing that ulti down on to the Nunu here. Nice Q binding from Morgana onto Darius. Mordekaiser is spell immune, gets a massive E, pulls in 3 members of the enemy team. Here goes Nunu, but there goes a Set. They are going to be fighting it out. Nunu was actually sent to the Shadow Realm during all of this. He does fall. Tristana trying to hop in, but is stopped by the cage from Vigar. Sona's just trying to heal up her team, really trying to just keep them alive during these team fights, but it's not enough from the damage. The overall suppression coming out from Team Spare Parts is too much to handle, and they're going to be picking up the Baron because...
Yeah, it's almost certain that the Baron will go over with Nunu dead, Veigar chunked out. Unless Veigar TPs in and looks for a miracle steal, this Baron's going to go over to the side of Team Spare Parts. And this one is going to break the base if they do it right. Veigar is here, he's looking for the steal. Will he be able to get it? He will not.
Nope, he was not able to. Jarvan is playing that relatively well and playing it very safe. They are just going to reset, do it over again. Dragon's coming up in about 18 seconds, 17 seconds. They will look for a reset, come back, and then possibly try and get Soul as well. But I don't think they really necessarily need to if they can just crack open the base.
Exactly, and you were looking at this Dragon here, it's pretty much free to take. You have the extra stats from the Baron right now, helping your team fight even more. The 10k gold advantage, you're going to want to fight around this, not because you need the Dragon, but because you get a free team fight.
Here they go. They are going to be chunking down the Dragon really fast. Is really known for this. Here comes the Set ultimate down onto Darius. He is going onto the backline. Massive damage onto Darius from Tristana. And we do have Nunu once again into the Shadow Realm. Here goes Tristana doing massive damage, jumping over the wall of Vigar, killing Vigar. Jinx does get a kill here. She kill Morgana, but now they're just looking to run it down, open up the base somehow, either through bot, either through mid. They have top pushing up. They have so many options to do what they need to do to finish off this game.
And the wave control, too, coming out of Team Spare Parts this game is actually incredible. It's actually, this game's making me wonder why they lost last game. I really want to know what happened in comms that just didn't let that Pantheon snowball. Because the wave control and the actual macro play coming out of Team Spare Parts is sort of nutty this game. They're going to get
actually just crack in, open them all up. No, they just open up like no can of worms.
Every wave was in the right spot.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just actually incredible.
Wow.
And this is why you contest the Dragon. Even that they don't need to get the Dragon. They don't care about that. They care about the fact that Kamikaze Penguins put themselves in a fight. And even though the Nunu got the Dragon, who cares? The Mordekaiser once again ultis the Nunu, cancels the Nunu ulti. That's an interaction for the history books. That's really interesting. Didn't know that worked that way. But 3 inhibs down now, and Elder is the only way back in, but honestly, it's sort of a mistake for Kamikaze Penguins to secure the dragon, because they want Elder spawning. They want to be able to steal Elder as a backdoor way into this game, and now that Elder's not going to spawn, I don't think it matters anymore. You should consider not taking another dragon for the rest of the game as team spare parts.
This team is actually giving me goosebumps on how well they're playing. I need to bring out my notepad because I need to take notes on this. Because they have been strongly just pressure, knowing objectives. Their communication must be absolutely stunning game for what they're pulling.
Yeah, it's really insane macro. We do see they're just going to walk the minions into the base at this point in time, playing it safe like any good team should, just going to let the first wave die. All 3 waves will be crashing at the same time now, and this is going to be suffocating. Baron has worn off, and that is the only saving grace for the side of Kamikaze Penguins here. And it's just nothing to be done here. They're going to walk in the
damage onto Mordekaiser. There is the Nunu ultimate just saying, trying to stop these minions, honestly. And they're going to just try and just stay alive as long as possible. Massive damage coming out. Vigar gets stuck in the Mordekaiser E, and he does have to flash away. The Sona and Vigar both go back to base. Now the super minions are just hitting the turrets, going in on them. They're taking it nice and slow. They're really cooking this bread here, getting the bread gamers. Massive set ultimate at the end there, doing massive damage to the whole team. We're gonna lance our final bind onto Vigar, double kill. GG team spare parts. What an incredible performance.
Yeah, that was nutty. The series does finish 1-1. Team spare parts and Kamikaze Penguins each picking up a match win here. And just to recap the series in this game, so obviously we saw in the first game, it's just an outscale fest. The cast-in scaled and the Nasus jungle scaled. But after seeing the second game out of Team Spare Parts, I'm looking for where their communication went in the early game, in game 1. Because they had the team comp to do what they did this game. Just tenfold. Their team comp was way better at snowballing, way better at playing early game macro, and way better at securing objectives. But that never ended up happening last game, and I'm personally curious about what happened that game that changed it. It might be unfamiliarity on the matchups, unfamiliarity with the champions in general, like Pantheon did not look super comfortable. But this game is completely different, completely turned it around. Monte Carlo method on the Jarvan, absolute ganking 3 times before getting his second camp on Jarvan. Demolishing the early game, getting a kill bot lane, kill and summoners mid lane onto the Veigar. Really setting up his lanes for success, setting up this bot lane for success this game too. The Tristana coming out big this game, 8-1 and 6 on the pick. Up 50 CS on the Tristana, on the Jinx this entire game. After coming out of lane phase. Top lane, Mordekaiser gets the early advantage despite the mistake and dying early. After that, pulls it back together, finishes 6-1 and 2, beats the Darius down pretty healthy with the help of the rest of his team. As far as MVP and Ace are concerned, I want to give the MVP over to either Jarvan or this Morgana. These Morgana binds in bot lane were so key towards snowballing the Tristana. And the Morgana binds aren't obviously affected by snowball. You still have to hit a Morgana bind if you want to do something, regardless of whether or not you get first blood. So I want to give this over to Morgana. She's really... This is one of the rare times I don't choose the player for MVP who snowballed the team first. But this Morgana deserves some credit, finishing 2-1 and 18 in this second game here, hitting so many bindings in lane, getting this Tristana super far ahead, great black shields over the course of the game, great ultis too, good eye for picks, good eye for engages, and a super big shout out to the Jarvan. Monte Carlo method pulling out an absolute banger of a performance in the early game, great ultis himself throughout the entire game too, and really a tough choice there. As far as Ace goes, you gotta give it over to the Nunu, I guess, just simply because they're the only one on their team who didn't fall super far behind. The Darius did fine in the early game, but wasn't able to transition it into anything in the team fight phase, wasn't able to transition it into the side lanes. So I guess I'll give it to Nunu for some good objective control, but that's about it. Really just got out macroed by a stronger early game comp and some creative jungling coming out in the early game this game.
Very well said. And that will conclude this series here. When we come back, we're going into another two teams in the Noxious division, Ebros versus Men's Women's Torment.